So the other day I was watching this interview Pharrell Williams did on GQ, and I caught myself wondering, who is this guy next to him? And also, damn, he could really use a haircut. So I did some digging. 99 Problems, Jay-Z. Walk This Way by Run DMC and Aerosmith. Humble, Kendrick Lamar. Californication, Red Hot Chili Peppers. You might have heard of this one. Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana. This guy produced all of them. 19 Grammy nominations as a producer. 9 wins.
Rick Rubin, ladies and gentlemen.
Rick Rubin. It's Rick Rubin.
Who the fuck is Rick Rubin? He was born on March 10th, 1963 in Long Beach, New York. Some of his early influences in music were mostly bands like Led Zeppelin, AC/DC, and the Ramones. It was music like this that eventually inspired him to make a band in his teenage years, where he would first start recording and experimenting with music production. But his journey in music really started on a random night, when he walked into this local club on West 4th Street in Manhattan named Negril Nightclub. This was the first time Rubin was exposed to hip-hop, and actually, he was one of the only people that knew about it. You see, at that time in the late 70s, the genre was just getting started, and Rick loved it. Negril was the only place that Rubin had access to the genre. Live acts would play at the club, so he went back every Tuesday night, just to hear the music. This is what he had to say about it on the Joe Rogan podcast.
At this club that I went to called Negril, what you would normally only be able to see at a club in Harlem, like there was a club called Broadway International and there was a club called the Disco Fever, was brought downtown and people downtown could see it.
At first, it was just a hobby to him. He loved it. But when he noticed one of the groups that played at Negril dropped an album that didn't land right in the public eye, he knew he could help. The album was missing a lot of the elements that made the group's live performances so special to Rick. He knew exactly what needed to be fixed, and on that day, he officially became a music producer. A couple years later, in 1984, he started up a record label out of his dorm room at NYU, with no money and close to zero connections. He named it Def Jam, and they saw some success in their first year, with the release of the song It's Yours by T. La Rock. But the label really took off the next year in 1985, when they signed at the time a little-known 17-year-old artist named LL Cool J. They dropped his debut album Radio, and from there, everything really just took off. But here's the twist. Rubin didn't work with artists at Def Jam the same way other traditional record labels would. If they wanted to work with him on a song, he didn't care how big the artist was, he didn't care about chasing trends or album sales, he didn't even care about using the best equipment like most industry producers would. He only cared about the energy, and if the song truly moved him, then he would work on it. Some examples of artists he's turned down working on a song with over the years include the likes of Jay-Z, Wu-Tang Clan, and Nas, just to name a few. 4 years later, in 1988, Def Jam was at its peak of success, so Rubin made his next life-altering decision. He left. He never felt the need to be famous and hated the politics being played at the time in the music industry, so he moved on. He decided to go back to producing on his own, just for the love of music. He's now admired as a living legend. Every artist wants to work with him. And that's the story of Rick Rubin.